Welcome to our special Election Day coverage. I am Shania Chavis-Rucker. Fulton County voters are casting ballots in the municipal, general, and special elections today. Polls here, as you may know, in the county opened at 7 a.m. Fulton County's Director of Registration and Elections is preparing to host his first of at least 2 media briefings just outside of his office inside the Fulton County Public Safety building of the Government Center. Let's take a shot of that particular location where all of the media is ready to go. And let's take a listen to what Rick is going to be giving us an update on now. Let's go ahead and take Rick live.
Good morning. My name is Rick Barron. I'm the Director of Registration and Elections for Fulton County. It's been all of the polling places opened on time this morning. It's been a slow morning as far as the phone calls. We've hardly been receiving any in the Emergency Operations Center. We had just over 34,000 people take advantage of early voting at our 21 locations, and we've had another just over 1,600 take advantage of absentee voting by mail. We're going to be open until 7 o'clock tonight, and you can call 404-612-7020 if any voter needs to get a hold of us, or you can go to the MVP site from the Secretary of State, which is at mvp.sos.ga.gov. And if you have any questions, I can take questions.
So 34,000 early, how many do you expect today compared to that early number? Half and half, or?
Well, I thought maybe we would get 70 to 75,000 people today, but based on the number of phone calls we've been receiving this morning and some of the reports in the polling places of light traffic, I'm unsure how, if we're going to get that. 2014, we had about we had a 16.5% turnout. However, there was a Senate race in each party on the ballot, and this time we don't have U.S. Senate on the ballot.
So that's kind of what you're going by, is that primary season, kind of try to compare it to this one
yes.
Off year?
Mm-hmm.
Any changes of method on the equipment that's being used this year?
No, everything is the same as normal, yes.
Was there any concern about any kind of security and breaching?
No. With regard to security, I think there was one state, the voter registration system was breached, but as far as they know, nothing was really infiltrated. The voting systems, no. There's no evidence that any voting system has been touched because there's an air gap between the voting system and county networks. They aren't connected to anything.
Has there been any inquiries or questions from the candidates to you?
Regarding security?
Process and security, anything like that?
Is there in Fulton County, how many times, I guess this is the same process you've been using for the last few elections, or kind of, how is the process of Fulton County now working, where it's just kind of, you've done this a few times now with this newer system?
Well, we've had this voting system, I think, in Georgia since I think they purchased it in 2002. So.
Oh, I thought there was changes like a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, or was that the general a couple of years ago?
I'm unaware of anything.
I know there was some new system in place.
No.
Mr. Barron, do you want to talk a little bit about the new county staff who are assisting you all with the polling places tonight? That's something new they're doing this year.
After the polls close tonight, we will have people in place at most of the polling locations. We have election night assistants. Most of those are county staff, and we're going to do an accumulation process at the polls to try to get the results in quicker, and that's something that we're going to try different tonight.
These are volunteers, or these are actual county workers?
They're actually county staff from different departments throughout the county.
How does that get it in quicker? Just having them there to process it quicker? Or?
What those election night assistants will do is that they'll arrive around 5. They will aid the poll workers in getting the polling location closed down, but they'll help in the accumulation process, and that'll allow the poll manager and one other poll worker to get to the check-in center quicker. And then we'll only have to upload one card instead of a couple thousand. I mean, one per precinct instead of multiple per precinct, and then that ends up that we only have to upload around 180 some versus thousands.
And is this process something new going forward? And this kind of, in general, the primary kind of leading to the general, I mean, because on a much bigger scale, we're going to do this again later this year.
Yeah, we're trying it now to see how it works. I guess it's been tried in the back in, I think the last time the county tried it was in 2011 or 2012, but it was just with the poll workers. And so what we decided to do was hire county staff to go out and help. They're going to be fresh, you know, instead of the people that are there helping voters all day. It's a long, tiring day, and so to get somebody that's out there that's fresh and is there for a specific process, and they've been trained, we figured that'll be good going forward, and this is a good election to start.
So what's the number you're thinking today? What percentage?
Originally I was thinking it might be 70 to 75,000. Well, you know, the outer.
Just today.
Yeah, the outer range being 60 to 85.
So now you're thinking more on the lower end of that?
It depends. You know, some of these elections, once the afternoon comes on, then it really picks up.
What percentage would that be compared to 2014? Was 16?
It's about the same percent. Yeah. Yeah, because we only have a little over about 35,600 people vote early, which we've got 600 and I think we have 673,000 active voters. So we had a pretty light turnout during early voting.
I have a question on Facebook Live. They're saying, how did the early voting numbers compare to 2016 or in years past?
I'd have to look that up. 2016 is a different type of primary because it's a presidential year, so the numbers might be higher. I'm unsure. With regard to 2014, we were still expanding early voting at that time. So we don't have as many polling places. We didn't have as many polling places back then, and also a lot of people weren't as familiar with early voting. So it's hard to compare those years. Anything else? No?
Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody, that was Richard Barron, Fulton's Registration and Elections Director. Let's recap a little of what he said. The absolute good news is he says that every one of the Fulton County voting locations opened on time. Before we get to some of the Fulton facts, let me tell you a little bit more of what he said. He said that they've had hardly any calls to their emergency operations center. And he says it's been a little light today. He says, but take in account that over 34,000 took advantage of the early voting opportunities at 21 of the early voting locations. So let's take a look at some of the Fulton facts as it relates to elections. So the number of active registered voters in Fulton County, over 282,000. The number of active registered voters in the city of Atlanta alone, over 288,000. Now, again, he says the early voting results was just over 39,000. That's because that is some of the absentee ballots by mail, and then again the early voting locations. They had today 195 polling places available for Fulton County residents to vote. This is important. There are over 1,900 poll workers, and Richard told everyone that a number of those poll workers are Fulton County employees who've been trained, in addition to some other poll workers who also came and wanted to take part in today. Now, that ratio of voting machines to voters at the polling sites, it's about 1 to 350. And the number of registered poll monitors for this election, 74. Now, Fulton County commissioners in odd-numbered districts, they are running for office. As you know, they all sit in Assembly Hall. That is where they conduct the business of Assembly Hall. The only one running with opposition is Chairman Rob Pitts. Keisha Waits is also running for the at-large position. Now, of course, there are a number of statewide and municipal races on the ballot, including governor, lieutenant governor, and secretary of state, just to name a few. Again, the polls close at 7 p.m. Of course, if you want to get real-time results, you can log on to FultonCountyElections.com. And for any election issues, you heard Rick say they have not taken any calls today. But if for whatever reason you want to give that office a call, that main line is 404-612-7020. And of course, stay with us on Twitter all day long as we will be providing updates from Fulton County's 195 polling locations. I am Shania Chavis Rucker with your Fulton County Elections Update. Thank you so much for watching.